This video is sponsored by Squarespace. So I was sitting here going through my emails like any other day, replying to clients, booking new couples, checking out Facebook, seeing what's happening in some of the photography groups. And we're having kind of one of the worst situations happen right now in our area where a photographer has basically ghosted a bunch of couples with weddings coming up. And it's kind of a big situation. So I'm not one to sit here and talk about any other photographers or what they're doing, but I see these situations come up fairly often and they're very unfortunate. In this particular one, and I don't know all the information, but it sounds like there's some things going on at home that is actually messing with how the photographer is going to be able to deliver and show up to weddings. But on the same end, trying to give the photographer benefit of the doubt and maybe, like a life-altering event has happened, so she's unable to come to the weddings. People are saying that she's done weddings in 2025 all the way back to maybe like June, where they had random associates showing up, which the photographer never said was going to be the case, where she hasn't delivered any of the photos yet, and it's pretty bad. And I've seen these situations come up on the news and things before, and I'm always like, well, it kind of sucks. I'm really unfortunate for the wedding industry that there's photographers out there like this, but this is the first time where I actually got an inquiry from a couple for like 2 months from now who are a part of this situation, which is crazy. So it's impacting a lot of people. And honestly, I think one of the things that rubs me the wrong way is the fact that, like, I don't know how photographers like that who are always hiring other people to show up. And there's a difference of if you like tell your couple it won't be you there, but if you tell them it's gonna be you and then someone else shows up and you're like, oh, I'm sick, like this photographer supposedly does this often. So it's like people doing this kind of stuff, but they're able to book mad weddings, and I don't understand. So I just wanted to get a couple of things off of my chest when it comes to being a wedding photographer, because I see too many people out here grabbing a camera or looking for a side gig, and they're like, I'm a wedding photographer. And y'all have to realize that while wedding photography can pay well, and it's probably the quicker and easier way to just get immediate money as a photographer, if you're not about weddings, the wedding industry, or actually serving your couples and being a real business, please do not do weddings. So the first thing I would say to you all is, if you're really thinking about getting into weddings, you're kind of excited about it, the photos look great, you really want to start and you haven't yet, sit down and think about how much you actually want to run a business. Because realistically, wedding photography is like 80-90% business and 10% photography. Photography is the least amount of what you'll be doing. It's more of a business. It's more of customer service. I've said it before. Now, if you fall into that range where you're like, you know what, I don't really want to run a business, I was just hoping I could take beautiful photos and make some money, you probably should be a second photographer. As a second photographer, you don't have as many responsibilities on you. All you have to do is show up, take amazing photos, and support the lead photographer, give the couple a great experience, and you're good to go. It is a great gig, and honestly, if you can get regular second photography gigs, you're going to make more than you could at a part-time job. For second photography, you can make between $500 and $1,500 on a weekend probably, because you're talking one-time second shooting making between $500 and $700. And if you do that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, or Thursday, Saturday, or something of that sort, again, you're making a couple $1,000s in a weekend. Do this every weekend, you're making $4,000 to $8,000 a month, and you don't have to do nothing else but show up and support. You don't even have to back up the photos. You don't even have to edit the photos. You don't have to do nothing. This is a great gig, and I really believe that more photographers should consider actually second shooting rather than trying to start their own business. Half the problem with the wedding industry right now is that there's just so many people running around with a camera and they're charging like absolutely nothing for a full day coverage, which should be handled by a professional. But couples don't know the difference. They just see a person with a camera. And so now they're out here hiring these people who have no experience, who are charging $500 because it seems good. And it's not good for anyone. And that's no offense to anyone charging $500. I've said it many a time. When you're starting out, you should be charging less, but you should also be letting your couples know what they're getting. Like, if they want super high end, super extra professional, super, oh my God, I want so many photos, they need to pay for it. That's just how it works. You pay for what you get. You know, a $2,000 car versus a $100,000 car are very different, you know? And someone who's looking for a $100,000 car should not be interested in the $2,000. But I think a lot of people have a hard time differentiating the difference in photographers sometimes. So again, seriously consider second shooting. It will change your life. You will make great money and it's less responsibility. So if you have a part-time job now and then you want to be able to do second shooting on the weekend, definitely check it out. And when it comes to being a second photographer, one thing you can do that will really help is build yourself a second photography website page or just a second photography website. By doing this, you can show off all of your work. You can tell your photographers what you use for your gear. You can tell them how long you've been shooting for and really get all that information ready and easy for them to see rather than just shooting them a random email and hoping that they pick you. So definitely make sure you're building a second photography page on your website or a full-on website. And the easiest way for you to build your website like this is with this video sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is an online platform that is going to make it extremely easy for you to set up a second photographer website like I was just mentioning. They have beautiful templates that you can customize for your brand so that you're really showing yourself to these photographers to get extra work. And on top of that, if you do want to go into wedding photography as a full-time wedding photographer, you can expand your website for even more. You have physical and digital products you can sell right on the platform. You have amazing customer service who's there to help you with anything you need at any time. You have member pages where you can actually sell and host your videos so that people can log on and view that stuff if you want to become a content creator, and so much more. With Squarespace, you can scale your business no matter if you're just trying to show off a portfolio, have a blog, or sell physical and digital products. So it's something I really recommend to all photographers, especially if you want to start being a second photographer. So if you haven't set up your website yet, check out the link in the description below for 10% off of your first website or domain. Now, another thing when it comes to this situation that a lot of people need to start considering is just how are you going to run your business as a whole and knowing how much you can actually handle. I know it sounds nice getting booked for $2,000 to $5,000 a wedding and having like 5 weddings a month and making, you know, a good $15,000 to $20,000. But if you can't actually sustain what it takes to support these couples for wedding photography, you need to stop booking so many weddings. I see so many people out here just jumping at anything they can get, but it's a lot of work. Wedding photography, y'all, is so much work. And that's one thing I wish a lot of people would realize is that it's not just go take pictures. It really isn't. The amount of work for wedding photography is honestly, if you're not getting paid enough for it, it's almost like like you're not really making enough money for the amount of work you're putting in, because it's not just 8 to 10 hours at a wedding day. It's, you know, the 5 to 8 hours before the wedding of meeting with the couple and all of the back end stuff that you have to do, all of the emailing, all of the questionnaires to make sure you know all of the information. There's so much going on. That's probably between 5 and 8 hours before the wedding. Then the wedding day itself is 8 to 10 hours. And then you're editing afterwards. If you're using AI to edit or if you're not, you're spending between 3 and 10 hours possibly on your wedding. Like that's like 40 hours. That's like full work week and you're only getting paid like $1,000. You know, it's like it's almost not worth it. Also, it's a very physically demanding job on the actual wedding day. So people be out here just booking so much. And then I feel like they start realizing like, oh my God, this is a lot of work. And then I could go on forever about these Facebook groups, but like every time I see a photographer in there looking for an associate, I don't know. I'd be scratching my head like, did you plan this out well? Why is it that you're looking for a random associate? Realistically, if you have a business, you shouldn't be out here contracting associates so often, so randomly, where you're on a random Facebook group. Like you should have actual associates that you have on your website so that people know what they're getting, not just like, hey, I need a random photographer to lead this whole wedding for me. The whole, like, what? Why? What are these situations? Tell me in the comments below, because I see it and it looks sus to me. Like, tell me why y'all are out here on Facebook groups trying to just hire anybody to associate for you, aside from an emergency. When I see the emergencies come up, that different. And they actually posted it's an emergency. So that's different. But when they just be under like, hey, I'm looking for an associate, for what? Why can't you shoot it yourself? Like, why is this even happening? So really think about the load of work you're going to be taking on before you get into wedding photography. That's why I started with my first point of saying, just be a second photographer. At worst, you're not able to make the date. You tell the lead photographer that with enough time so that they can get another photographer. Like, it's really not that hard. And last but not least, remember that this is a wedding day. This is one of the biggest pivotal life changes that a person's gonna have. Obviously, there's other big life changes as well. Weddings aren't like the only thing in the world, but it's very important. You have two people coming together, making a vow to say that they're gonna be together for the rest of their lives. Like, that's kind of a big deal. It's a huge celebration. You got families getting together who may not have seen each other for 3, 5, 10 years. It's important. So again, please stop jumping into wedding photography just because you have a camera and you're like, I like photography. Oh, wow, I can do weddings and make money. Stop, please stop. Go do something else. Because if you're not trying to run a business, if you're not going to be at the wedding running around for what needs to be captured, if you don't care about the couples, if you're just there like trying to make a paycheck, please stop. Realistically. Again, all these points I'm making have nothing to do specifically with this photographer in her situation. From what I've heard, it's actually a really bad situation. But on the opposite end, there's people who aren't getting their photos and she's not showing up to weddings for months. So I understand huge situations can happen and they can come out of the blue, but you really have to try your best to like, have backup support photographers so that when you do have huge life events, you can tell photographers and they can come in and help you. Or even, plan around your life. Like, we're expecting another baby. And so close to the delivery date, I blocked off like a whole month. And yes, it hurts to not be able to take weddings for that month. But again, I'm not going to do a disservice to my couples just because I want to take the money, but then be like, well, but I don't know if like, so, and again, it's hard. I do have weddings close to the delivery date because obviously you kind of find out being pregnant, like it comes after a while. Like you can't plan for that. We're booking weddings out like a year in advance. So it's a hard profession. Sound off in the comments below. Let me know what y'all think about wedding photography and how hard it is. Tenured photographers, tell these newer photographers what it's like. Because again, I just feel like I see too many people jumping into weddings thinking they're going to make a quick buck like it's a side gig or freelancing. But like, weddings are very serious. And the more people who jump in, not understanding or caring how serious it is, you all are literally ruining the industry. You're ruining the industry for everyone else. So realistically, please just stop. Just do yourself a favor because as a business owner too, you're going to have to deal with the couples when you let them down. So, but that was me getting on my soapbox for today. I'll leave y'all to it. Check out these videos here for some full wedding days if you're new to wedding photography and want to see how a whole wedding kind of goes down. And I will catch you all next time.